Hi, everybody. It's Thursday, December 29th. One more trading day left in 2022. Hopefully, 2023 is a little bit better. Let's look at a few things. Like I said, um, hard to predict which and why things are going like they are in the end of the year. We yesterday looked, with volume. Yesterday we had a down move, closed near the lows. This didn't look good at all. And then today we gap up and run up. Big move up, actually. Um, the Still in a range, but again, you wouldn't have predicted from the price. Again, I'm a big price action person. And watching the price action yesterday, I said, okay, this range we've been in, we might be coming out to the downside. And then we get what we got today. That's more than a reversion to the ADMA. Um, it's buying, but is it real? Just like was the selling real yesterday? We got to see if we get follow through. We got to see how we open up 2023 on well, I think it's Tuesday when the market's open. I have to double check it, but I'm pretty sure Monday markets are closed, but I'd have to double check. Let me do that now. Yes, they are closed Monday, so it'll be Tuesday the 3rd. I've been scatterbrained recently. My wife is we're having another child for a couple weeks of January, so it's been a little crazy around here, along with everything that happened to the website. So, got to see if this continues. Now, the special indicators I showed you before on that 1 minute chart. Again, I'm not going to explain how these arrows form. They don't form on this candle. They form on action of candles following it. So, and the red doesn't mean it's a down day, and the green doesn't mean it's an up day. That's for another explanation for another time. And I can't say go to the trading handbook because I don't have it yet. I got to find out if it's still in that download that I got from the compressed download. So, but you can see the way that this works. The arrow forms. You're usually headed down if it's a down arrow. Up if it's an up arrow. But you can get head fakes. So that arrow probably formed on this candle right here, and then it's then right there down arrow form. So you got to watch these on. This form of trade, using these to trade are okay, but I like them on a little bit smaller time frame, not these daily charts. As you can see, this is another up arrow, but we got a sideways action as soon as you hit, as soon as you thought you had something going, you were headed probably down lower than that low before this arrow formed. So there's a lot of different ways to look at this, but one thing I'm showing you, I like that this arrow is up recently, but still got to make the right move. Just because an arrow says we should maybe trade bullishly, we still got to get above first this range on the SPY over 385. It's a first step, and then work our way up to there because it's not a bullish trend overall for 2022, but the action we've seen recently is a little more bullish than others. Down move, that's an up move, but we got to watch this. So a lot of different ways to look at things, but again, we got to get into 2023 and see how the price action is really working out. The Qs, again, nice move, close above the previous day's high, off the lows. Again, the action yesterday would have told you were going lower. Small caps, another nice move there. You see how the IWM and the Qs all closed over the previous day's high. So did SPY, but it looked like the other two were a little bit stronger in their move. But how does this affect stocks? What's going with it? A lot of these stocks are going with it. Apple, however, didn't close over the previous day's low, but did break that low at 129 in some change, but now just go back above it. But remember, that could be a reversion to the ADMA. Amazon, same kind of thing. Remember, that could go, I can't remember where this could go on the weekly. If I remember, we got to look at like a longer time frame. 5 years. Week, yeah. I mean, we're talking about down here, 71. I might change, 70, somewhere in this area right here where these lows were put in. Because we're already violated all of this. So it's hard to really pinpoint exactly where that support is right here, and that's all the way back from 2018. So to find serious support for that is not an easy task. But then we go to Tesla, who had a nice update today. But again, is that just a reversion? Is that just um, the end of the year stuff? Got to figure that out. Again, it's hard to trade on these daily charts based on technical aspects when you don't know what the reason for the buying and the selling is. And you look at Google, trying to hold that 83 still. Could run up to 103, 104, but got to get back above that to be bullish. We were looking at Crocs, which had a nice move the other day. Again, back down yesterday, back up today. Even these daily charts on these stocks are hard to figure out where this action should be going. Looking at McDonald's and such. Oh, if I type in the right letters. So McDonald's still banging around that 266, 265 area. Got to see if it's going to drop lower or go higher. Hold on, my dog's going crazy. Lay down, girl. Quit getting into stuff. Okay, and then CVX. These are those bullish charts that I liked. I'll go back to the side by side with the weekly and the daily, which is the reason I'm looking at these. Remember, the weekly is why I'm looking at that, because it's a relative an uptrend. So looking for maybe that run to 189, or if it gets above it, that's a good breakout trade. Same kind of thing with Marathon Petroleum, MPC. Nice uptrend, but we could go back to 127 or run it back down to that 50% retracement. Alta, again, another weekly chart that I liked. Again, trying to get back to 483, maybe run back down to 428 if it's going to do that. And GIS, which gave it back a lot yesterday, just hanging out in between that breakout level and the 50% retracement. So let's go back out of these and see what was the movers today. We know Tesla was. Shopify is just a horrible chart. I mean, wouldn't know what to do with this because it's just so, it's not good. Like I said, when I was doing the research on these charts, you go back to that weekly side by side. I'm not saying there's no recovery. When you got a move like this and it hasn't even, this is a weekly chart. A move that started in 21 of December of 21. It's not bouncing off that rundown. Same with Lyft, one of the big movers. This is why you can't really trust into the end of the year. Look at that rundown. It's really not bouncing off this rundown. Some of them are. I mean, you look at let's look at Microsoft. I haven't looked at that on a weekly recently. So there's a rundown, but it's sort of bouncing on the way down. It's just not running down and sitting there on that weekly chart. What else was moving today? Chewy's just a horrible chart too. Let's see how that fits the weekly parameters. Yeah, there's a little bounce there off the bottom, so that maybe that could recover. I don't know if it recovered back to the highs, recent highs lately, but you see that's a little bit of a recovery bounce in Square. Kind of the same thought process as Shopify. Yeah, it's a run down, but it hasn't really bounced much. So we got a lot of stocks that went with the market today. You see a lot of greens up. This first 50 or so is up 3% plus. You drop it down to the next 50, then you get the 1.5% higher and up. So you can pause that screen, any of those ones, and see if you like anything. But when I do the research, like I did on Monday this week, obviously, I look at every single chart of all these stocks and do some scans if I see if there's anything else out there. But again, 200 plus stocks there. I just look at the charts that make sense. And remember, the things that we're trying to do here generally is find charts that are ready to move. There's a lot of ways to trade, but it's hard to get into if you're a trader versus investor. And I don't mean that to the nth degree of both of those terms. But if you're trading, if you're sitting at your computer trying to trade most of the days, most of the week, you want to sit there and watch something that's boring. You want to sit there, watch things on a time frame that you can trade on and get a trade. I mean, a lot of these charts aren't just moving enough to make a trade on a daily chart worth our while.